Hey friends, so today we're going to dive into the world of personal branding, but we're going to do something a little different than we do on other videos on this channel. We're going to take rapid fire questions from the team. I haven't had these questions yet. We didn't stage anything. This is really legit rapid fire questions to share with you the insides, the behind the scenes, the looks, the advantages, the lessons, not failures, lessons of building a personal brand and why it's so important to be the thought leader in your industry and in your community. Because like we always say, when you put out content, you make connections, that leads to conversations, and then you have opportunities, which is what we're all out here doing this for. So let's jump right in. But if we have not met, my name is Andy Smith. I started my career as an entrepreneur, built 2 businesses, exited those businesses, jumped right back in and acquired a few to have a portfolio of reg tech industries, but now deeply focused on helping leaders build their personal brand, be the authentic, authoritative voice in their industry, and tell their story. That's the unlock from us going from zero to hero. So let's jump right in.
Okay, let's start off with importance. Why do you think it's important for somebody to build their personal brand for their career?
It is so important to build a personal brand for someone's career path because I spent the first early part of my career when social media didn't exist, staying within my network, my family friend group. Even in college, staying within my family friend group. I didn't branch out and meet new people. I stayed in a very localized group. Then during my first venture, same thing. I was deeply focused, rooted in building that first venture, but never building a network, never building a brand. Then we had the insurgence of social media and the world changed in 2020. We have the ability now to connect truly an international community that wants to know us, wants to hear our story. And so through content, I have made connections all over the world. In fact, spoke to somebody from Tel Aviv. We had a group of Eastern European folks on a community. It is just mind-boggling how small the world is when we jump into building our brand on social media. And it's not easy. It is tough to be consistent. But once you make that first post out there into the world, and then you show up the next day and you start to find your voice and you start to realize who your authentic self is. And you will find that on the journey, which is really cool when you start to realize, that's why we're here, because we found our voice and who we were and our why and who we want to serve. And then our brand started to naturally come out. People get to know you and your tribe gets to know you and opportunities flourish. So building a personal brand leads to you being a thought leader in your sector, which leads to opportunity coming your way.
So what would you say is the foundation of your personal brand?
I think the foundation of your personal brand starts with really who you are, why you do what you do, who you want to serve. Because if we're not serving the right who, most things will filter out and fall apart and diminish relatively quickly. We can't play the long game, right? I always say I'm at the halfway point in my life. I got 45 more years to go. I'm not going to make it to 90 serving the same who if I'm really not passionate about serving that person. I think what I've found on this journey is it's a lot of times we want to serve our earlier self. We often best times serve our earlier versions of ourselves well, very, very well. And so finding out foundationally who I am, and I have found my voice through posting on social media, because you have to be courageous, you have to be bold, you have to not care what other people think. And those are not things we show up to the party with. Those are things, or at least I did, those are things that I built over the years of. I was very scared about posting. I didn't know what to talk about. I even posted stuff and then deleted it because I was too scared of what people would think. I wrote stuff and then never posted it because I was too fearful of what people think. And I had to develop a level of boldness over the years. And that has created the foundational work of who I am. So now I understand better who I am and who I want to serve. So now we can play the long game, and your brand is just encapsulates all of those authentic traits inside of us related to who we want to serve and why we want to serve.
How do you handle the negative feedback that comes along with social media presence?
In terms of handling negative feedback on social media, so early on when I started posting pre-2021, so this would have been somewhere around 2018 timeframe, I made a video, put it out there, and got some negative play. And that was on a safe platform. Quote, LinkedIn, I thought was a safe platform of nice people. And I had earlier put some stuff out on Facebook, and I actually ran away from Instagram and Facebook early on because I quickly touched up against some negative comment. When I got to LinkedIn and I had some positive comments, and then a negative one came in, I ran away as well. So I found myself retreating because of the negative comment. And I think we have to remember, I think we have to ingrain it ourselves that we don't hear the cheers and we don't hear the boos. We're playing a game, and we don't care what people think about us in a good way, and we don't care what people think about us in a bad way. We're just here to serve. And if we can find our authentic self, we can find a level of boldness, and we'll rapidly find that we can post independent of the negatives and independent of the positives. It's taken me 4 years to get to that journey of boldness, and it's taken surrounding myself with great people who say, hey, we've got this. We know who we're serving. We know why we're serving them, and we don't care who gets in the way of that. We're going to be relentless in getting to that goal.
Would you say that the fear of negative feedback and that journey of boldness was your biggest obstacle, or was there another obstacle?
I think in terms of obstacles related to social media, the biggest one for me early on was the negativity. I could not handle it if people did not like what I wanted. We all want that dopamine hit of like, oh, great, Andy, you're so wonderful, cool. But if somebody comes in and is like, hating, I ran into it quick. So negativity was for me obstacle number one. When I then found obstacle number two, it was, why does anyone want to hear from me? Nobody cares who Andy Smith is. He's just a small town boy from outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Does anybody care what he has to say? Once I realized that we all have an authentic voice, we all have experiences, we all have lessons that we learned on this path, we all are different, became comfortable with that. Like, not everyone is the same. We're all different, and that's a beautiful thing. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has experiences that can impact someone else. So I say the words infinite impact often, which is, if you can impact one person and that person goes on to impact another person, you, my friend, have made an infinite impact. And that is overcoming that obstacle number two was a huge one. Third obstacle that we often have to encounter is one of consistency. We get too busy. We get in a rut. We don't know what to post. We got busy and forgot to. We got into a tough day. We don't feel like posting. There's all these things, check, that will hamper our consistency. Building the proper systems, building the team around you helps with that. It is a process to get where you are, and you can certainly amplify that process. It is a process from overcoming fear to then ultimately overcoming consistency. And when you can get to that path, then you have unlocked and you can really scale your presence, because I think we all have to realize building a brand, a personal brand, is about ultimately distribution at scale. So we build a personal brand. Now that personal brand starts to define who we are, connects us with our authentic tribe, and then we find opportunity at scale through that.
Sharing your life is a big part of building your brand on social media. How do you balance your personal life and your professional life inside of your brand and while you're in it?
So the personal and professional balance as it relates to building a brand, and specifically social media, is an interesting topic. And I think what I've found is that personal and professional go hand in hand. I don't separate the two. I have found my passion, which is helping leaders tell their story, helping leaders build their personal brand. And I'm doing that whether that's on a Saturday afternoon at a soccer tournament, or if that is in a business setting with, an executive at a big company, helping them build their personal brand. Now, you get the question of what to post, how often to post professionally versus personally. And I have found that we're simply here to tell our story. If we're telling our story, and that includes our personal life, that includes our professional life, uncovering our authentic self for the who we're trying to serve. So I personally post my entire encapsulation of life, which is a professional version and a personal version wrapped up into one, which is my brand. The brand is my personal and professional life, because those two go hand in hand. I don't think anymore we are working a 9-to-5 job or an 8-to-4 job and then going home and living two separate lives. We're living a life. That is a life encapsulated by family, faith, friends, employees, customers. It's an entire community of people that we're just here to impact, because we can impact somebody professionally and personally, and ultimately that impact means this.
Do you have any boundaries that you set for yourself based on connecting with people or talking to people, DMing people? Is there a specific time that you will interact with those and then not interact with those, or how do you manage that?
Yeah, I think who we associate with and how we associate with those people is an interesting question as we find ourselves starting to get traction in the sea of building our brand. So we start to get a little bit of a following, and we start to find our tribe, we start to find our authentic voice, start to tell that story more consistently, and we start to get more and more network stacking, which builds more and more of a following, right? And so in that, I think we also find who we resonate most with. Now, so I think we all start out with the who we serve, and then we just always are getting niched down on who we serve. Finding that avatar, that person, that group that we want to serve the most, and then focusing on that group. Because I think we all can share to the masses, but we can impact to the who that we really set out to target.
So is there a specific way that you measure your success on building a personal brand? Is Is it something that you feel internally, or is there another way that you measure?
So how we measure our success of the personal brand, I think, is more related to, are we consistently controlling the control? Are we waking up every day and being our authentic self to our tribe? Are we, now that the things you can control are how often you post, how often are you making content, how often are you showing up? Those are things we can control. Once we put that out into the world, we can't control much of anything else. There's the big algorithm, there's the audience, there's all these things that change all the time that we can't really control. And so I found that I don't care about the views. I don't care about the like. I don't care about those metrics. We monitor them and we optimize for them, right? But we don't hold ourselves accountable to the metrics. We hold ourselves accountable to, are we finding opportunity? Are we reaching the people we want to serve? Are we serving them in the ultimate capacity that we can? And when we are focused on just that one person, that one who, I think we really find the joy and the excitement and the reason to keep going again versus changing likes and followings and all those things that change all the time.
Last question. So if you could go back and talk to day one content creating, brand building Andy, what advice would you give?
If I could go back and talk to myself 4 years ago when I started putting out content, sprinkling it out, and then getting consistent 3 years ago, I would say enjoy the journey. Because in the journey, the more we put out, the more we start to realize who we are as a person, how we are best effective to our the who. And I would say, don't give up, don't get discouraged, don't quit throughout the process of consistently showing up for your ideal who. Your ideal customer, because they want to hear from you more than you really know. You can impact people who you've never met before telling your story online. Just a quick example of that is I got a phone call from a gentleman who said, Andy, you put out a message of hope, a message of courage, and I've lost courage. And I did not realize I was impacting people who I didn't know, because he was the first person to have ever reached out to me and said, hey, Andy, can we talk about it? So I think never underestimate who is seeing your content, irregardless of likes or comments. People are seeing you, people are following you, and you're inspiring your tribe, who you may or may not know, you may never know, but you're an inspiration to them. They will then become an inspiration and that is the joy, that is the why that we show up every day on social platforms and give back, because it is a tool. Social media is nothing more than a tool to tell our story to a bigger audience, tell our story to the masses, and a platform to be able to do that and impact as many people as we can. Hi friends, this was an ad hoc random journey through some questions that I didn't know were coming. If you like this, let us know. We'll continue to do this kind of format. If you have questions of your own about building your personal brands, love to talk to you about that. It is something that we have been in the trenches, been working really hard toward over the last 4 years, and just love learning about all the changes and the rapid lessons that we're learning and finding and uncovering every single day. So my name is, again, Andy Smith. I'm present on all social platforms at Andy Smith Life and online at andysmithlife.com. Thank you, friends. Keep building, stay consistent, keep inspiring.